Welcome to the Talk Ish podcast. I am your host, Heidi. Join us as we embark on a journey of self discovery in an effort to heal the mind, body, and spirit. And we do all this by talking ish. Justin's not here with us today, but have no worry, have no fear. We have the wonderful and the beautiful Erin Faith Kabba in his absence. So, I just wanted to start this podcast off, this episode off, by having you introduce yourself. I'm just going to do a quick preface of how me and you met.
Yes.
So, I met her on Facebook,
Hmm.
and I was looking for a guest to bring on the podcast, and she was at the top of my list. I resonated with everything about her message. She is a rebirth to death doula,
Hmm.
and her you could find her at the Oya Collective, and she has a book that is going to be coming out soon, and I'll let her describe that to you. But I just wanted to let you all know how much in line we are with each other, and and
Definitely.
exactly, and like even just us kind of being here like before this,
Hmm.
how we kind of just vibed and picked up a vibe, and we're all about spirituality. And I just want you to first start off by telling us what it is that you do,
Hmm.
just briefly describing what it is about the Oya Collective that you do, and what is your journey that led to
Hmm.
this.
Okay. First, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So the Oya Collective, I am a rebirth to death doula, and a lot of people are like, "Death doula, what's that?" So birth and death are the two major transitions in life, right? So rebirth to death doula, I help women have transformative rebirths, empower them to live with audacity, and leave a legacy. I believe that legacy is everything. I believe that you are here for a reason, for to do a particular thing, and that thing could look like 100 things wrapped up in one like purpose, right? So rebirth, a lot of us are conditioned.
Mm,
It could be religious conditioning, it could be societal conditioning, cultural conditioning, whatever. We're conditioned and we don't really show up in life as our true self because our true essence has been choked out due to ish.
absolutely.
Right,
Not talk ish, a different
right.
kind of
Just
ish.
ish, right? All the ish. So my journey uh, to the Oya Collective and establishing that, I grew up in my book, I call it a fishbowl. So my
Mm,
book is called Destroy the Mask, A Woman's Guide to Unlock Her True Self, Live Out Her Purpose, and Leave a Legacy. So I was born and raised in a fishbowl, and that fishbowl was the Pentecostal church.
mm,
And I will never, I just want to start by saying this, I will never talk bad about my upbringing, um, and I won't talk bad about Christianity per se, or, I'm not going to say, oh, that's wrong. But a lot of us grew up in religious situations that caused us to have experiences that we had to heal
yeah, absolutely.
from. Okay. So I grew up in the United Pentecostal Church, International, UPCI, and predominantly white organization. There was diversity in certain areas, but predominantly white organization. Um, and I also went to school at my church, so kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh,
I had
wow.
never been to public school.
Wow.
Um, so I was like very sheltered.
Mm,
So the only people that I had access to outside of this church was my family that did not go to the church, like my cousins and things like that. So I grew up being educated by a very skewed viewpoint of like reality and
yeah,
history.
yeah.
And so like I was taught history in from a lens of, oh, God brought the slaves to the United States because they wanted them to have access to him,
Dear
and
God. Mm,
different things
mm-hmm.
that just were not accurate.
Yeah.
right? And I mean, deep down, I knew I was like, whatever, this is BS.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go anywhere,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I had good experiences in the church, but coming out of high school and going into college, it was like it was very I was very shell shocked because my graduating class was 6.
What?
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. That was a big shock to you then.
Right. And so
Yeah.
then I'm going to university and I have 30 people in one class. I have 100 people in one
Mm.
class. And everybody around me is different
Yeah.
because growing up, everybody around me was the same version of one another. We all had to wear the long skirts.
Wow.
We all had to talk a certain way, be a certain way, look a certain way. So now I'm around these people who don't look like me, who don't act like me, who don't really have this same viewpoints as me,
Yeah.
right? And so that's when it started. I started to think like, oh, there's more to life than the
Yeah.
church,
Yeah.
right? I was always taught I have to be called by God. I wanted to go on the mission field and win people to Christ.
Oh.
You
Mm.
know, I
Mm-hmm.
went to mission trips in South America, and like I was just on fire for God.
Yes. Yes.
But college, I was like,
Mm.
I'm starting to like things that I was told was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to question things because now my church, some people had started wearing pants and they weren't going to be sent to hell any longer. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so my foundation started to crack.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to 2020. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about this in my book. Um, I was going to church. You know, I got a couple of degrees, got married, got divorced really early. Met my daughter's father, had her, we broke up. So I was just kind of like going through the motions, doing all the things. I
Mm-hmm.
went to college, got the degree, started teaching, um, just going through life on autopilot. At the time, I was still going to church,
Mm.
and I was only going because I'm like, okay, I'm still a Christian. I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. That conviction. That
Yes,
conviction kept pulling you
yes,
back. Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Like me showing up to church every Sunday somehow checked the box
Mm-hmm.
as like I was okay,
Yeah.
even though I wasn't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but then George Floyd.
Mm.
George Floyd began my deconstruction journey.
Wow. Wow.
And I remember this Sunday, I tuned in from my house because you know church and churches were closed.
Uh-huh. Bedside Baptist. You went to
Exactly.
uh-huh.
I
Mm-hmm.
was so excited. I didn't have to show my face in church, but I turned on the little live stream. I
Yes.
was like, let me have it on in the back. And so George Floyd, a lot of emotions came up. You saw who felt,
Oh yeah.
right? You
Oh
saw
yeah.
what they felt, how
Yeah.
they felt, what they said, what they didn't say,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So I tuned into the church that I was going to at the time, ran by a white evangelical male, and the message
Yes.
was not comforting at all. And it left me angry, of course.
Yes.
But I'm like, we have this pandemic, people are dying. Then we have this race crap,
Yes.
people are dying,
Yes. No. Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I've been taught to follow you all of my life, follow your teachings, the teachings of the church, all of my life. And yet, during this time where the nation needs to be unified and healed, you decide to spread a message that divides us more than anything.
Absolutely.
And you put politics in it.
Yeah.
And so, like, he had his prerogative to say what he wanted to say, to share it. It's his church,
Yeah.
right? But it caused me to think, like, why am I living according to what everybody else is saying, what I was taught to be, right?
Yeah.
And not really living as myself, not really doing the things that I want to do. I could die tomorrow. COVID really made us look at our mortality,
Yes.
right? Because we thought that would never happen to us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Here in the United States,
Yes.
in Asia somewhere in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But here, no.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people have died.
Yeah. The illusion, it was completely destroyed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm still here. I'm still healthy. I'm going to start a journey of honestly digging into what I was taught
Yes.
about God, about myself. And if I come back to Christianity, fine. But I need to know for me,
Yes.
not what I'm told. So that started the journey of destroying my mask.
And it's funny that you say destroying your mask. It seems like the mask of the church was destroyed by COVID. You
Mm.
know, and so like a lot of that stuff has been unveiled. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as soon as you said George Floyd, I know exactly what direction you were going in. Because my brother is a minister as well, and I know he
Mm-hmm.
shared his story on the podcast as well. But the same thing, his turning point was George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a church that was predominantly white, and all, and then it was like, but one thing that it really shot home for me was the fact that how white supremacy
Mm-hmm.
was supported and propped up by the church, and how the two are inextricably tied to
Mm-hmm.
one another, and how it's such a mess, an enmeshment.
Mm-hmm.
There, I mean, you can't tell one from the other. You
Yeah.
cannot tell either apart, and that's one of the most powerful things that I got from this. And it kind of like put the nail in the coffin. I had started to deconstruct prior
Mm.
to but prior to COVID, but COVID really
Fast forward things.
fast forwarded things,
Right.
and put the nail in the coffin. And one thing that you said that really resonated with me, where you were like, let's just, for me, I told my husband, I told my mother, Jesus is, as of right now, this is like 6, 7 years ago. I said, Jesus is on trial.
Mm.
I said, I put Jesus on trial. He'd been on trial for years. And finally, I'm starting to come back, not necessarily, looking at Christ as the Savior, but Christ as the one who is leading us and showing us his tenets.
Setting the example.
Setting the
Mm-hmm.
example for us,
Mm-hmm.
so we could follow, but not, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear more about, because I love your journey. Number one, I did, like, that's a real fishbowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real fishbowl.
Yeah.
I know some people think that they live in a fishbowl. You really actually
No.
lived in a
Yes.
in a fishbowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to know, what is it that you do? What are the services that you're offering
Mm-hmm.
to women?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So what I do is I think of it as three categories.
Okay.
So rebirth, transformative rebirth is, so I may provide coaching for women who are like I was in 2020 searching,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a lonely experience to deconstruct.
Yes.
A lonely experience because you might not have anybody around you that is going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm that person who they can come to just like let it out. I don't believe this. I believe this. I'm unsure about this. And
Without judgment.
yes, without
Yeah.
judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of lead them on a journey of discovery. I don't answer questions for them. They have to answer the questions. They have to know what aligns. But a lot of times, and I know that you and I have similar religious backgrounds, a lot of time we have the thought, oh, don't question God.
Oh yeah.
You're going to go to hell if you question God. How dare you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Ask the questions. So like we think that we can't ask questions, right? We think that we're doing something wrong by learning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to give yourself permission to go there.
Yeah.
So like I help women go there. Like, and it doesn't even have to be like a religion. A lot of us have been conditioned in our homes.
Oh yeah. Society.
Society,
Schools.
women,
Yeah.
us, like come on now.
Absolutely.
Conditioned to think these things, to do certain things, to take certain paths. Like, what if I don't want to be a mother? What if I don't want to be a wife? But my family is pressuring me to do that.
Yeah.
right? It's all about that rebirth, like having the courage to learn,
Yeah.
having the courage to identify what it is you want, don't want, whatever. And so, and living as your authentic self. So
Yeah.
I kind of help women through that. Then with living out your purpose, setting goals. I'm that accountability partner,
Mm.
right? So like I had so many things on my vision board back in 2020, and they had been on them there for years, right? I would always like dream about doing things. And finally, when I put my mind to it and actually created a plan of action, I was able to achieve so
Yes.
much,
Yeah.
right? And I'm still trying to achieve so much. I'm not an expert, I'm not there yet, right? But I'm still working to achieve certain things. Um, and then leaving a legacy. We're here for a reason,
Absolutely.
right? Your legacy is attached to you. It'll be attached to you long after you're gone. So we bring up Martin Luther King Jr., we bring up Rosa Parks, we bring up Malcolm X.
Yeah.
They're all gone,
Yeah.
but they're still in our everyday conversations, especially
Absolutely.
during Black History Month,
Absolutely.
right? And you're here for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, and your purpose is never for you.
That's big. That's big.
It's never for you.
That's so big.
You're not being led to do something because so you can just have that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing it because you have to help someone else.
Yeah.
And someone else might not even be in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It may come after you're dead and gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me say this. When I was young, I always had this obsession with death and the afterlife.
Okay.
And I hid it because I thought that I would be judged, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in my deconstruction process, I kind of wanted to explore death,
Yes.
right? So I found a death doula, like just by happenstance. And I was like, oh, I like this. I don't know how it'll fit with my life, but I like this.
Mm-hmm.
So then I took the certification. I became a death doula, and I help people plan their legacy.
Yes.
And plan the end of life stuff, because as African Americans, a lot of times we do not prepare for that.
Oh,
I'm tired of seeing GoFundMe's and fish fries when Pookie and Ray Ray die,
yeah,
or grandma
yeah,
dies, and nothing is left. Nothing is done. It's so much drama.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we have to do that?
Yeah.
Get some insurance. Have a plan.
Absolutely.
And so like 100% of us will die, and people don't understand that. People don't think
it's
about
inevitable.
Right.
And especially us, we're dying at a higher rate, a faster rate.
Exactly. Like our kids are being shot up at school. Like we don't know if they're going to come home.
Yeah.
So while death is like taboo in the Black community, a lot of talking about it is taboo. I wanted to use my death doula position as kind of like starting that conversation, helping people to truly leave a legacy. And that includes end of life planning.
Absolutely. Have you ever, I'm not quite sure it's exactly the extent to death, being a death doula, but have you ever been with anybody as they transitioned?
I have been with one person as they have transitioned. It was a family member. But now I currently sit with people that are actively dying.
Okay.
So they're in hospice.
Yeah.
I provide companionship at times and like giving a break to the caregiver, or sometimes I'll go if they're in like an assisted living facility. They're just laying there by themselves, and their family might want someone to just come sit with them.
Absolutely.
Play music for them.
Absolutely.
Things like that. So I'll do that sometimes. But yes, I have been around a lot of death.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's a true calling. I mean, not a lot of people are really, are called or led to do that. So, I
Mhm.
mean, and then, you know, how many, I mean, me being a nurse for 14 years,
Mhm.
seeing that, you know, seeing the other side, being in the ICU. I remember when I was in the ICU, I did what I didn't realize was being a death doula,
Mhm.
helping people who, you know, doing end of life care, just helping them as soon as we, you know, we took them off the machine, being there with the family, creating an atmosphere
Mhm.
that was welcoming to that transition. I had no clue that that's what I was actually doing, to the
Mhm.
point where people would come up to me afterwards and were like, "You've made this unbelievably easier for us than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was
Mhm.
going to be the worst thing, you know, pull in the plug, or,
Mhm.
you know, terminating care
Mhm.
on our, you know, on our mother or father. But, you know, you've made it so, and that's so important. Like when you're grieving, and when the whole family, not even just the person that's transitioning, the transition period is for the family as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
And I've seen, and too often we see families that get actually split apart
Oh my gosh, yes.
from the transition of a loved one.
Mhm.
They fight over the finances.
Mhm.
It's like, and so if we just had that plan, you
We
know,
would
it
be
is
unified.
absolutely like
Mhm.
and just these little things that we need to piece together
Mhm.
that will make so much of a difference. We don't think that it's going to make that much of a difference. We don't
Mm-mm.
prioritize for that difference,
Mm-mm.
but it is. We have to see it for the long run.
Right.
And I mean, I think that is just, it's like you're an angel on earth to provide that. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I had to hold their hand because nobody was there for them,
No. And
you know?
nobody knows where anything is.
Yes. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Mhm.
So you mentioned earlier about destroying the mask.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are some things that you see women do? Some things that you have done?
Mhm.
Things that people do, that how do you know when somebody has a mask on?
Mm. I'll tell you like this. I'm gonna reframe your question. I'll tell you how you know you have a mask on,
Okay. All right.
because I can't. Sometimes I can't tell if you have a mask, right?
Got it. Got it.
I'll know. Yeah. So, one, something in you is saying no, but you continue to say yes.
Mm.
So if your whole body is saying absolutely not. There's so many times, especially women, we show up to places,
Mm-hmm.
work, home, where things are asked of us. We have asked to do something, give something, say something, and you say yes because you don't want that other person to be mad,
Yes.
even though it
Mm-hmm.
goes against everything in your spirit.
Mm. Mm-mm.
You keep saying yes. Stop doing
Yeah.
that. Right?
Yeah.
That's wearing a mask. A lot of times our mask hides depression.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be all giddy during the day, but when you go home, you are a ball of tears.
Yeah.
I've been there,
Yeah.
right? And you're not dealing with the depression under that mask.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what you battle with in your mind, in your heart, and your soul. Only you know what keeps you up at night,
Yeah.
right? If you're trying to hide all that
Yeah.
from everybody around you, you're wearing a mask.
Yes.
Um, if you are going to church
There you go. Come
every
on.
single Sunday
Come on now, Pastor.
and you don't believe what pastor is speaking, you just going because mom
But
said,
you shoot him that amen.
amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, God. But on the inside, you're like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I know darn well that is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're wearing a mask. You're
Yeah.
only going because you've been conditioned
Yeah.
to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another sign that you are wearing a mask is that you tend to ignore your intuition.
Mm.
You ignore the things that you might be taking interest in. You
Ooh, that's
push
a
it away,
big one.
you
That's a
know,
big one.
because you already in your career, you're established,
Yeah.
right? So, like, for example, for me, the next thing in my career, the next thing that made sense was to become a school principal. So I got the certification, like my master's is in school leadership.
Okay.
I got the certification and I was like applying for principal jobs. But in my mind, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do something else. I don't know what it is. I didn't have that answer. but I was just applying on autopilot because it was the next trajectory. It was the thing that was going to catapult my career, right? So if you are ignoring the pings of something in within or externally, that hey, you should be doing this.
Yeah.
Don't do this. But you're just moving forward because you have to. You got to keep playing that part. You're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are a few things.
Okay. It's kind of like a dishonesty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a betrayal of self.
Mm-hmm.
You're betraying yourself. But one of the big things that, and for years, I wore a mask.
Mm-hmm.
I was in nursing. I was a single mother of two. I had just had I started nursing school when my son was 4 weeks old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And nursing school was hard. 4 weeks
Right.
old, that was unbelievable. But so I started it because because that's the thing. What do they tell young black? Well, become a nurse and you
Oh,
just are set.
you're set.
You
You're
you
making that
know.
money.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to nursing school. I'm set.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not my passion. It was something that my mom did. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm going to be a second generation nurse, and it was just like something that's going to pay the bills.
Right.
Now, it paid off for a while. I was, but I just went through the motions for such a long time, denying myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the most problematic thing is I had a daughter watching me deny myself.
Mm.
I had a daughter watching me lie to myself. She saw me being dishonest,
Mm-hmm.
and she saw me putting myself second. She saw that. And what happens with that? If you're modeling that behavior, so that was so big for me
Mm-hmm.
because my daughter was watching. I didn't know at the time. But then when she started getting older and denying herself
Right.
and, lying to herself,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Yes.
that was my wake up moment. I
Mm.
really, really started to wake up. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing how our children mimic our mask. They pick their own mask
Yes.
up. It's like you said earlier, it is something that we do without even realizing it. We do it ju- just by systematically depriving ourselves and
Right.
quieting that voice.
Mm-hmm.
We have a built-in navigation system. God gave it to us. We are led and guided
Mm-hmm.
by the Spirit. But I'll tell you one thing. I know church speaks a lot about being guided by the Spirit, but church could honestly be one of the biggest intuition killers.
Oh
Because if
yes.
if what you feel doesn't align with the doctrines, not even the Bible, because sometimes the Bible doesn't even agree with the doctrines.
Right. Right.
If what you're feeling doesn't align, you're taught to deny that.
Exactly.
You're taught to die to yourself.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's such an important thing that you're doing that I resonate with very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
And can you speak on just on that, because I know you have a daughter.
Yeah, and she's preteen, she's 12,
Hmm.
and I was a single mother for 10 years. And I like you said, I see her denying herself.
Hmm.
So I see her not wanting to share her true feelings because she feels that I might be upset, or a friend might be upset or might disagree with her. So she's like, "Yeah, I like it." But
Hmm.
I'm like, I know you don't like it. You don't have to tell me you like it.
Yeah.
Like it just as an example, like food or an outfit or something like that. So I see, so I had to unlearn some things, and because we parent like we are parented.
Yes. No, seriously.
So I had
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
kind of be like, all right, what my parents did with me, that's not going to work with her.
Yeah.
And we always say certain things that our parents had said to us, but now I have to be more aware of, like, you know what, I need to let her have her space
Yeah.
to be herself.
Hmm.
um I need to let her know she's safe with expressing how she feels, because I didn't, if anything went against the church
Yeah.
or went against what my parents wanted me to do, in a black household,
Oh,
you are not safe to express
absolutely not.
how you feel about anything,
Yeah.
right? You don't pay the bills.
Yeah.
I told you to do this, do it now,
Yeah.
right? So I need to give her the space to do that. So, like, it's definitely difficult because, one, we're conditioned to be like, oh no, you have to, and then I have to like stop myself and
Yeah.
be like, okay, gentle parenting.
Yeah.
So like I learned early on that spanking didn't work with her.
Mm-hmm.
I got spanked all the time,
Yeah.
right? And it didn't work with her, so I had to kind of like create my own journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about the book.
Yes.
All right. So let the viewers know about the book and what they could expect from it. What it's when it's going to be out. I can't wait to get my copy.
I'll give you a signed
Oh,
copy.
thank you so much.
So, Destroy the Mask will be out hopefully the last week of um, October 2023. It's in the hands of the publisher right now. So, I'm waiting for my physical copy to come to me so I can approve it. So, everything's done. And I go through everything about my deconstruction journey and addressing baggage, addressing limiting beliefs. I have a I feel led to say this. I have a chapter in the book called The Deception of Happily Ever After.
Ooh.
And I just want to say, when you work on trying to destroy the mask, you'll never reach a point where you're like, oh, I destroyed my mask. I'm perfect. I have made it.
Yeah.
Life is great.
Yeah.
I've conquered all the things.
Yep.
It gets hard
Yep.
because you'll start having your old thoughts, your old habits, but the book aims to provide you with tools
Yes.
to one, destroy the mask, keep it destroyed,
Yeah.
right? Give you tips on how to do what you feel led to do.
Yeah.
Um, and just think about your legacy. So it's the book, and then there's activities,
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
and then there's a digital resource kit that if you want to have your things like your notes and things on your computer, you can. So I provide that link, and it's free. You just use the link that I give you in the book. So,
Okay. Okay. And I like how you made sure to mention it ain't pretty.
oh,
This process is not
it's
pretty.
hard.
It is hard. You are faced with yourself.
Yes.
The things that we run from, the time, we are faced with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. We can't blame anybody but
No.
ourselves. I have on my journey, I got this tattoo. I am the problem, but I'm also the solution.
Oh, I like that.
We are the problem to every single
Oh
one.
my
It's
gosh,
sometimes
yes.
it's when we didn't stand up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's when we said too much.
Mm-hmm.
So if we realize and we sit with the ugliness, cry it out, hash
Mm-hmm.
it out, do whatever it is it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not pretty, but the end is so beautiful. Transformation is never easy, and I think that's what is really drilled into us, right? What's drilled from society into us is like, now that we are post civil rights era, it's just like it's time to live this life of ease. No, baby. This is
Mm-hmm.
really when the
We
work
still at war.
starts. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just never,
Mm-hmm.
it's because we're trying to run from that struggle. Embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace the beauty of it, because at the end, the transformation is even going to be even more beautiful.
Right. Right.
So I am so, so happy that you came here
I'm happy to
to
be here.
talk to us.
I loved it.
And the Oya Collective.
Yes.
So the Oya Collective, I want you to really quick before we go,
Mm-hmm.
talk about Oya and why you came up with that name, and then tell everybody where they could find your information at. And then
Okay.
we'll end there.
Okay, so yeah, so in the beginning of my deconstruction journey, I found ATR, African Traditional Religion, and it means the world to me because I was so disconnected
Yes.
from that black side, right?
Absolutely.
And I fell in love with the Odishas,
Mm.
and so I've heard of the Odishas before, but I really like dug deep, and a lot of the community, oh Oshun, Oshun. I love Oshun. So like she's the main Odisha
Yes.
that people know, right?
Everybody loves those shoes.
Yeah, I'm a daughter of Oshun. But Oya is the Odisha of transformation.
Yes.
And ironically, she is the Odisha that is the ruler of the cemetery.
Mm.
So she welcomes the souls into the cemetery.
Perfectly aligned.
Right. So the Oya Collective, and I chose that name even before I was going to add the death doula component to it.
Really?
So it just fits. So
It's
transformation Oya, if you want huge transformation, It might look crazy,
And
but
if it ain't working, if it don't look
right,
crazy, right?
I will wipe everything out. So yes, Oya is the Odisha of transformation.
Awesome,
Yes. And
awesome. And
so my website is www.oyatheoyacollective.com. And on Instagram, it's at the Oya Collective.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin
Thank
Faith, for coming
you.
to join us.
Thank
And
you.
that's it for us. Reach out to Erin if you have any, if you are interested in Rebirth to Death Doula, and also copy of her book. It's available for pre-sale, right?
Yes, it's pre-sale now on my website.
Yes, available for pre-sale right now. So get a copy. And thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions that you would like to get at us, uh, at the Real Talkish Podcast at gmail.com, and the underscore real underscore talkish podcast at on Instagram. So that be it for today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.